It's Hollie's Hotspurs back with another one. Chatting all things Tottenham, we're second to none. Special guests every time, if it's win, lose or draw. The passion is high like Harry Kane when he scores. Or when Lloris makes a world-class save. We got Højbjerg running the mid every game. Settle down, stick around, share your thoughts with the panel. And make sure you're subscribing to the channel, cause...
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hollie's Hotspurs Live. It's been a little while since we've dissected things live on stream, but I think with everything that's happened recently, I think it's about time we do so. And with me tonight to go over everything that's coming out of Tottenham at the moment, I am joined by three fabulous guests. First of all, Max, how are you, my friend, this evening?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me back on the channel. Obviously, a lot to talk about, and yeah, looking forward to dissecting it and getting into it.
Good stuff. Like I say, it's quite strange. Obviously, these shows are normally about a game that we've just witnessed, but we're talking about transfers tonight, which will be quite interesting to say the least. And we're also joined by George. How are you on this fine Monday, my friend?
Yeah, I'm really good. It's quite warm in here, but yeah, I'm excited to dissect all these rumours and transfers. Yeah, there's a lot to go through. So
there is an awful lot to dissect. And also, as well, we are joined by Wes, and Wes is wearing the new shirt. I love it, mate. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, all good, thank you. This is a birthday present. It was my birthday last Monday. So, yeah, shout out to mum and dad for sorting this one. And yeah, I thought I'd obviously give it a whirl, give it a debut today. But no, looking forward to this one. Obviously, it's been a lot of stuff happening recently. So, yeah, let's get on with it, shall we?
I like it. And those fine words of Wes, let's crack on with it. So obviously, quite recently, we have signed Bissouma from Brighton, and he's 25, and we got him on a 4-year deal for £25 million with a 10 million add-on or something in the works. But Max, I'll come to you. I think it's the first time I've seen rivals very, very jealous that we've got this man over the line.
It's nice to get business done early. I mean, obviously with the other two signings, but this is like a marquee signing. It's a sort of signing that we're stamping our ground. He's gone out there, and we've seen like seasons in the past. Bissouma, he's a great player, and he's one of them. You think he's not going to stay at Brighton forever, and the fact we've been able to get there, seeing the quality that he obviously possesses, he scored that goal against us as well. I mean, he's got a bit of everything, isn't he? He can defend, he can get forward, and the price tag. It blows my mind a little bit, to be honest, because players like that, you think 50, 60 million, especially if you change his nationality and put an English badge there, instantly is £100 million player. So it's nice to actually just get the business done early. I mean, the team's looking wicked already, and we're not even anywhere near the start of the season. So there's a long way to go. Bissouma, get him in. I should have got him on the back of my shirt, but I actually went with Sonny. I got to stay faithful to my boy Son, as Georgie boy knows. But
of course,
but no, yeah, Bissouma. It's exciting. It's the fact that we've got other teams like talking about us for once, and it's like we're not even have to do anything. We're just doing our thing, just going out there. Conte, obviously, he's away on a jet ski or whatever he's doing in those photos, but he's obviously given a list to the board and said, "Look, get me these players." And then I will deliver next season. So, no, exciting times.
It is very exciting. Like you say, it's so nice not having to sit here panicking towards the end of the window thinking, oh my words, who are we going to bring in last minute? We're actually getting stuff done over the line, like you say, pretty early. And like you said, Max, obviously the strengths in midfield, the fact that obviously we already have two very decent players. I won't mention the man behind me, but in terms of Bentancur and Højbjerg, George, we've already got those two, and now we've got Bissouma as well. It just kind of shows the strength that we are bringing back into the side.
And we've got Skippy to come back as well. Just added depth in defensive midfield. Yeah, I think that it's what we needed. Next year is so important given the fact there's going to be 5 subs. We're in the Champions League. There's the World Cup halfway through the season, so games are getting squashed left, right, and centre next to each other. And I think it's not just about building that first 11 anymore, because look what happened during the Poch era. That's sort of what we were known for, having this incredible first team. And the common phrase was always we're 1 or 2 players away from actually winning something big. And I feel like now we've got to take it to the next level and build a quality squad. And just like on Bissouma, I can't believe we've actually signed like a Prem proven player, which I feel like we haven't done for a long time. It's always like up and coming youngsters from other countries, just in the hopes that it pans out. And more often than not for us, it hasn't, to be honest. So yeah, it's exciting to get someone that or a player that's been proven in the Prem and he's not even old. He's 25, is he, or something like that? Like, he's got so many years left as well. To have his experience at his age is incredible.
It really is. And like you said, obviously he is Prem proven. And like we say, normally we throw money at things that are hoping they're going to be Prem proven. And Wes coming to you, obviously in his interview, is saying how excited he is to play, obviously, Champions League football. And I think that is, as well as Conte, been a massive pull for us to get this guy over the line.
Yeah, I think what I liked about his interview, like you said there, was how excited he seems not only to play Champions League football, but to play for Tottenham. I think that is a massive, massive thing, because I think sometimes, you get the classic statements of like, yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I'm looking forward to getting started. But he's literally come in and said like, no, I wanted to play Champions League football and I want to do it for Tottenham. And, like the boys have said already, to get somebody Prem proven at a really good age, it's going to add something different as well, I think, to our midfield, the way he gets about the pitch. Obviously, we saw firsthand against Brighton, the amount of ground he covers, that defensive solidity he's going to give our midfield was really, really good. I think he was the main reason in that game that Kane was so quiet, because he just kind of blocked those little passing lanes that we usually create to get the ball into Kane. Bissouma was just there. So, yeah, I think, obviously that Champions League pull has helped us get Bissouma. But like I say, for him to be that excited almost about kind of joining us and playing Champions League football, I think is something I think every fan can get behind.
Yeah, 100%. And like you say, I think it's so nice that a player's actually saying, I mean, they wouldn't lie and say they're not happy about coming to Tottenham, but it's nice to have that feeling back, I think. And I think Champions League football and Conte has made that happen. And obviously I want to bring up a comment, because we will get onto the man, that number 23, because it has been floating around about Eriksen potentially making a return to Tottenham. Now, Dad says, do we still want Eriksen? So, Max, I come to you first. You can answer that one to start with.
Of course we want Eriksen. Of course. One, I don't want to see him going to another Premier League side. Like, yeah, he came in because Brentford were the side that, it was a big gamble. No one knew what it was going to be like. And we're sat here, obviously, he's been remarkable. Like, even like his health and fitness, that was the worry. But the fact he's even come in, it was like he'd never left. Like, the way he slotted into that Brentford side, he's been brilliant. And I feel like, yeah, the way he left wasn't probably the best, but sometimes players have to move on and it just doesn't work. But he's played under Conte, and I feel like you were saying with like Bissouma, what player wouldn't want to come to Tottenham right now? There's everything's on the up. We've got the stadium, the training, the manager. We're actually getting backed. I mean, and you're keeping players in the team like Son and Kane. Kane's staying. He's probably gonna hopefully commit to another contract. I think I'm here until 27, because he's obviously not going anywhere now, because you got to remember Harden City. There's nowhere else that I can picture him going now. So who doesn't want to come? Champions League football, Champions League champagne football, back at the lane. Oh, I can't wait, honestly. George has probably already booked his flights to every country in the world.
Yeah, it's done. The Champions League final's been booked, mate, since last week.
George definitely booked his flight after the kit launch and he saw the Istanbul thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I booked out a whole hotel.
He's joking, but 100% that's done.
Serious.
I tell you what, Chris Cowlins, he's booked that, mate. He booked that a long time ago.
100%.
Oh, no, but that's the thing. I mean, obviously, the teams in contention, and obviously us, United and Brentford, but I believe there's other teams abroad now that are either after him. But he has previously said that he wants to stay in London. George, do you think that's still the case with Eriksen? Do you think it's kind of, because I think news came out today from Alistair Gold saying there's been no contact between the club for 2 weeks for Eriksen. Do you think it's kind of smoke and mirrors to kind of put off the scent that we're after him? Or do you think it's more of the case we're going after other people first before we go after Eriksen?
Yeah, I think, I think it is a little bit of smoke and mirrors, because if you look at the business that we've done so far, it's all done pretty much under the radar. Like, I feel like, obviously, Perisic and Forster, they're free signings, so they can get done a lot quicker. But Bissouma, I felt like just came out of nowhere. Like, he's a player that I've wanted for a couple of seasons, and then all of a sudden we're just hear that, oh, by the way, he's doing a medical this week, and we're going to sign him. And I feel like the Eriksen stuff just really started to heat up over the last couple of days, and I feel like this might be the way of the club trying to, calm things down to maybe maybe as part of the negotiation deals, because I can't believe for 1 second we're not looking at Christian Eriksen for free, a player that loves the club and, like Max was saying before, has been outstanding for Brentford, not just against maybe the bottom half teams. He's done it against the top teams he's come against. He's played well against us as well when we drew to them away. So he's definitely still got it. I've even seen him have corners beat the first man, which is just it's unbelievable. I don't know what they've given him, because it doesn't feel real. So yeah, I'd find it very, very strange if we weren't seriously considering him. But it does look like the Spence, if we are signing in, the Spence deal is dragging on. We're obviously looking for that left centre back. So maybe the club are just prioritising other areas first. But yeah, I still think Eriksen's got to be on the cards.
Yeah, like I said, I think lots of talk about, obviously we want that centre back, we want that right back, and we want potentially a striker. So maybe Eriksen's kind of taking a back seat at the moment because we know there's other clubs in contention, but we know we've got that one up on him because he loves Tottenham. Do you think that's kind of the way as well, Wes? I mean, lots of people are saying, oh, we'll have to change the formation, we'll have to do this. But as we keep saying, there's 5 subs next season. We've got Champions League football. There's going to be plenty of game time. And like Conte said last season, he hated the fact that he couldn't switch it up. With Eriksen in the mix or on the bench or coming into the team, there is that kind of switch.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, obviously George referenced the Brentford game. I was at that game as well. And actually Eriksen was the best player on the pitch by a country mile. Like the first half frustrated me so much from a Tottenham perspective because he just dropped off both Højbjerg and Bentancur, picked the ball up and was just spraying it out to those wing backs left, right and centre. And, obviously you're starting to think then, like, if he did come back, imagine like he's pinging it out to Sessegnon or Reguilon, depending what happens with him, or if it's a Spence, a Doherty or Royale, whoever's in that right-hand side. That we know that the wing backs are a key part of the way Conte sets his teams up. So if you've got somebody with that level of quality that can pick that pass, I think that can only be a good thing. I think I'm in an R in as to whether we should potentially have him back, because I feel like as a club, potentially we should have moved on from him. But the more these rumours are sort of gathering pace, I'm just there like, yeah, just get him back. I'm
watching, those compilations, like, with the coming home. So I'm like, tears in my eyes.
Literally, it's just one of those like, no, just get him back, and just like you say, see what he can do. I think it's almost one of those that screams a no-brainer, and I think that's why every Spurs fan is so passionate about getting him back. He knows the club, he knows the training ground, he knows the manager, more importantly as well. Knows how he works, and things like that. I think the only potential thing that might go against us would be United because of his relationship with Ten Hag. Obviously, Eriksen was doing a bit of training with Ajax to get himself back up to fitness, but it just seems it kind of feels like it's one of those deals that could potentially almost be too good to be true. Hey, listen, I'm not going to begrudge Eriksen coming back on a free because he's still got the quality, that we all recognised him for previously. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I wasn't all for it, but as it's going on, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
The thing is, we actually like, actually prop it in for him, because I'm here, obviously United and there's Brentford. I feel like Spurs have taken like a back seat and been like, we'll have you as long as you decide you want to come to us, sort of thing. So I feel like that's why Spurs have been a bit reserved of it. The fans are the ones that have made
it feels like we're that ex that's just like, hey, I'm still here, kind of thing. Like, hello, remember me?
Just chilling there,
like, just in case. Yeah,
but no, it's just they know that the fact it's not like there's 20-30 million in the pot getting launched around. Like, it's the fact it's literally like, do you want to come back to us? If you do, then we'll get it done. Otherwise, go to Man United, and then that's the fan base. We don't want him to go Man United. So I don't know. It's one of them.
Champions League makes a massive difference because he wants to be at the top of his game again. And with the World
Cup,
it
doesn't matter, but it 100%.
Come on, with any player, it matters. If you've got Champions League to offer, they're always going to take that over Europa League or something else. Do you know what I mean? So, and just
the only thing is different.
Just on the United thing as well, like if you actually look at what United got with Ten Hag coming in, he has already said in the past that he hates the way Man United have treated Donny van de Beek, and they've already got Bruno Fernandes as their main creator. So it's already tough to fit those two in regardless. And now you want to add Eriksen to the mix as well. It's like, if he's going to not play Champions League to then also suffer game time then I think he would rather just stick with Brentford. So I don't think they're really in for the running, to be honest.
Yeah. The one thing they will obviously beat us by will be wages, because that's just how we've always worked.
But Matt, you say that, if I refer back to the documentary when Levy, Mourinho and Eriksen were in the office having a chat, and Levy kind of said, look, are you leaving for financial decision or footballing decision? Because if it's financial, we'll match it. So it was at that time where Levy, and I think that goes unnoticed a bit when it comes to the documentary, but I think that was a real eye-opener for me, and going, okay, well, Levy is actually willing to match what some of the more elite clubs around Europe are willing to pay. Obviously, we know Eriksen was on the best part of 250 grand a week at Inter. Obviously, there's nowhere near getting that at Brentford, but he could comfortably get that at United 100%. So I think it's down to us, if we are going to go in for him, just to, I wouldn't say push the boat out, but just make him an offer that makes him really, really consider, his options. But I think, again, the fact he's a free transfer, I think, is probably what's taking a little bit longer on that one.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that he's just so, because we've seen what he can do. I'm not saying United, he's going to go United and suddenly they win the league. Like, that's not going to happen because they're under a rebuild. But it's just seeing a player like that play for a different club. It just wouldn't be right. It would have been like if Kane went to, obviously, like, it's totally different in terms of, like, he's not a striker or whatnot. But it would have been like if Kane goes to someone else in the Premier League. Like, it's like, why ain't you got a white shirt on? It's like it wouldn't suit well with it. Just wouldn't fit well with me.
So as long as he goes Leeds, it's all right then.
As long as we get Rafinha.
Yeah, Rafinha swap. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we are a sucker for nostalgia. Like when Bale was rumoured coming back and then he actually came back, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. And I think with Eriksen, it's that kind of nostalgia thing. And I don't think none of us can forget not how badly he played between those 8 months, but how he just wasn't in it anymore. And I think time is a healer. So I think if we are going to get him back, now would probably be the best kind of time. I just want to answer this question. Formz is unfortunately not very well, so that's why he's not here tonight. But hopefully he'll be back in the near future. But rest up, Formz. But yes, like Carl says, he will come back to Spurs. I think we can all cross our fingers that he will come back. And I think many of us, like I was the same, I didn't want him back because we've been there, done it. But I think I'm kind of past it now. I kind of want to see him back. But anyway, moving on slightly, I want to talk about obviously Spence. I know, George, you've mentioned it already, but it is taking a long time to get this deal over the line. I think the holdback to start with was because he was playing obviously in a tournament with England and he wasn't back or whatever. So I think now he's finally deciding and he's back what he's going to do. So George, I'll come to you first, obviously, because you mentioned it. What's your kind of thoughts on Spence? Do you think he's the guy that's going to potentially start in that starting 11 position if we do manage to get him? Do you think we're even going to get him at this point? What's your kind of thoughts?
For me personally, I feel like if we go for Spence rather than other right wing backs, I think that says to me anyway that Conte is going to go for Doherty or Emerson as first choice, purely because I don't know. It seems so similar to the Sessegnon deal a couple of years back, where it's this whole bright young English talent, and obviously I know we need to meet the English quota and all, but I feel like you've got to weave that sort of player in pretty slowly. And I don't think he'll come straight in and be a first team starter. I think it would be like, it would have to be like a Delhi miracle whereby he's like literally the next best thing in the world, which it's a tough ask for him. And I feel like it's dragging on a bit because we're potentially just weighing up other options. And it's just a sort of under the radar sort of move. Maybe we're trying to see if we can get English players in other positions so that we can go for maybe a foreign player as right wing back. I don't know what the exact sort of quota is that we need. I think he's a good player, but having spoke to a good friend of mine who's a Middlesbrough fan, he thinks that we're being robbed by offering 20 mil because he doesn't think that they're that good. He doesn't think he's that good or that worth that much anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know personally. I just think that's
the English badge talking as well that raises that price, doesn't it?
Yeah,
English,
yeah, exactly. So I think it's a good signing, but I don't think it necessarily takes us to the next level. And Conte wants changes now. So if we can go for other options, I'd say let's explore it. But if he comes, I'll be happy with it as well. It's just one of them ones, really. Yeah,
and I think, like we said, it's strange how we've done all our early business and now this one is taking forever when we all kind of thought it was pretty much done and dusted. So as I come to you, what's your kind of thoughts on it? Obviously, like Georgia says, he's young and upcoming, and then we've been in this position before, like Georgia said with Cess, young and upcoming. Would you feel happy if we don't bring anybody else in that position and then have the likes of Doherty and say if Emerson doesn't move on and have him as well and Spence? Or do you think you want someone better, like George says, to fit in the here and now?
Well, let's be honest. We can't all stuff for another season of Emerson and Doherty fighting it out as right wing backs. Let's put that out there. Spence, from what I've seen, really good player. I think, in Forest's Cup run, I think we saw what he can potentially do against Premier League opposition. And bearing in mind, Forest had quite a few of those along the way. Obviously, they beat Arsenal, tore them apart, absolutely wiped the floor with Leicester. As well. So, they've played Premier League oppositions. He was a standout along with Brennan Johnson, to be fair. And those two have been two of the main standouts in that Forest team throughout the season. I think this one is a complicated deal because there was rumours that obviously we were linked with him whilst he was on loan at Forest. And it was always a case of, well, if Forest didn't get promoted, I think it would have been a lot easier to get him. But obviously, because they've been promoted now, you're adding that into the mix of where he's already been. Obviously, working with Steve Cooper, fantastic coach. Worked an absolute miracle with Forest last season. So Spence obviously got that relationship with him already. I think it from what I can make out, it's almost like he feels like he's a first team player now, given his year that he has had. So for him to then come to us and be almost, as George says, kind of fighting with either Doherty or Emerson, which I believe will probably be Doherty because I think Emerson is probably on his way out. Is he going to want to potentially leave? I wouldn't say Borough because I think he's going to leave Borough anyway, but perhaps move. If he goes to Forest, for example, he's guaranteed, first team football. He's going to be that number one player in that position already. But then he has got that while he's playing, for a club in the top six, European football, fantastic facilities, his place of work, i.e. the training ground, the stadium, all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't think I would be too disheartened if Spence if he comes in and he turns up. Like I say, he's had a brilliant year. And we've seen players. Okay, we've seen them struggle coming out of the Championship, but we've also seen some successes coming from the lower leagues. Obviously, we know for a fact with Delhi, I know his career's had a bit of a nosedive, but I think when he first came in, he was unbelievable, and I don't think anybody saw what was going to happen. I don't even think people in Milton Keynes saw what was going to happen. Like I say, I think if Spence comes in, I understand the deal. Obviously, potentially then we've got our Walker and Rose 2.0s back with Sessegnon and Spence. Like I say, from what I've seen, I've been really impressed. But it's going to be a complicated deal, and I think that's why it's dragging on a lot.
100%. And I like the way you've made that comparison to Delhi, because obviously I'm going to bring up Delhi's kind of his like way he held himself, and obviously we're seeing a bit with Spence, the way he kind of displays his character. So Max, would that be a worry for you if he came to Tottenham, or do you think actually no, we need a bit of spice in the dressing room now and again?
I think it's always nice to have a bit of spice. I guess it's how far it goes. When I see that picture of him putting up the old Warnock stuff, I was a bit like, I don't know how I felt about it, because if that was to do with anything with Spurs, I don't know whether I want to be seeing that. But then sometimes it's nice to have a youngster in the changing room that's just lively. Like we all like lively players. Like Romero, look at him when he gets stuck in. It's different. Doing it on social media is different to doing it on the pitch, I think. So if he came in and he was doing it on social media whilst doing it on the pitch, I don't think it's a problem. It's where you get dragged down a bit like Delhi, where you look like you're just having a laugh on social media and then you're not turning up in the games and stuff. So then that's why fans turn on your back. But I actually haven't seen that much of him. I only started watching him probably like in the playoffs, to be honest. I think there was one, I couldn't even tell who it was against. It wasn't in the final, obviously, but there was one where he knocked it, done like a 1-2, and then he went through and scored. That might have even been to help him get to the playoffs. I'm not sure, but that was the first like sign that I was like, when we were first linked. And I was like, he looks like a player. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, I won't be disheartened even if we don't get him, to be honest, because there's obviously another big right back that I don't even know if the club are linked, but the fans want us to be linked. And I feel like that's a summer of, we just want the club to be linked with certain players. Like, it only takes one in the know, so to speak, Twitter account that says, "Oh, we're linked with the new Cafu at left back" or something, and everyone just gets involved. Everyone loves it, don't they? So I don't know. I'm very chilled at the moment with what I'm seeing. Is I'm disappointed we ain't made a signing today. Like, I'm waking up thinking, who we are today? Why have we signed someone this week? So at the moment, yeah, early days, 3 players in. You could argue the way things have been going, we should have had it. If it was going to happen, we would have had it wrapped up and done by now. But that just shows like how our mentality is so easily persuaded, because we've been waiting until like the end of August normally for signings. So the fact that we've had 3 quick signings, just suddenly we're all like, well, when's the next one? It's like it's like a drug. You just want like keep coming. So
it's because we haven't had it for so long. I think that's the problem.
Exactly.
We're so eager because it's been a while since, like you say, normally we'll wait until August to bring in about 5 players because we've missed the opportunities to get those players in early doors. So yeah, I think I'm kind of the same on Spence. I was really excited when it was announced because, like you say, he's young and upcoming, and then I remember we've had lots of young and upcoming players, and look where they are. So yeah, it's a funny one. Like I say, if we get the deal over the line, I wouldn't be begrudged it. But whether it happens is another thing. Obviously, someone in the chat has spoken about this. Now, I know Tanguy is obviously a player that I think most of us know that he's got talent, but it's just not working at Tottenham. And Hakimi is coming up quite a bit. Now, I don't know a lot on Hakimi, which is probably poor for me. So, George, I'll come to you because I feel like you probably do. So, what's your kind of thoughts on this? Do you think this would be a decent deal? Obviously, I think to get Ndombele off the books would be class anyway. But Hakimi, I know that he's a class player. Would you feel like that would be a sick signing in that kind of respects?
That would be like the serious marquee signing of the summer if we have to get a player of that sort of magnitude. But that specific deal, I don't think would happen because PSG just signed they just signed the central midfielder recently I think it's from Lille, if I'm not mistaken. But not Sanchez. There's another one I can't remember where he's from either way, but they are after Sanchez as well, Renato Sanchez, because Luis Campos brought him to Lille in the first place, and then now he's going to be PSG director, I think it is. So
George has been playing too much Football Manager for sure.
Listen. I've been on my Twitter's just been feeding on the side while I'm in at work, just constantly paying attention. So yeah, I don't think they'll be after Ndombele anymore, to be honest with you. So I don't think that specific deal could happen. But look, if we say bring in Eriksen on a free, if we do look at other options that we could sign for not as much money, like yes, the likes of Richarlison has like a high price tag, but they also teams like Everton want players like Winks or whatever that we can offer, so we can bring the money down so that we're not actually spending as much. If we do have enough funds left, then because we haven't spent much anyway at the moment, then spending big on a right wing back is so key to how Conte plays, and he'll become the playmaker in the team realistically. So I don't see why we can't at least try. It's going to be very, very, very difficult, but I don't see why not. He's worked with Conte before. Conte loves him, so it's a proper statement signing.
It would be. It's like the puzzles kind of all coming together. And like we've kind of spoken about, we actually haven't spent a lot of money. That's the mind-boggling thing. Normally we're sat here saying, why haven't we spent any money? And now I'm thinking to myself, actually we spent the money wisely for once. So maybe something like Hakimi could come in. But I want to talk about obviously a name that's been floating around the last couple of weeks, which is Bremer. Now I've done a little bit of homework, Wes, but I feel like you'll be more on it than I am. So what are your kind of thoughts with obviously Bremer? He's a left-sided centre-back, I believe. So again, I suppose he would take over the role of obviously Davies. So that being said, is that a guy that you would want to come in? I haven't really seen a lot of him, so I wouldn't know. But coming off your expertise, what do you think of that guy?
Oh, this is where I'm going to have to let you down, I'm afraid.
No.
This is the one name that I am a little bit like, what's he like? But obviously left-footed, can well, apparently not.
I thought he was left-sided.
Brazilian centre-halves, right, okay. Obviously, historically, can be really hit or miss. like I say,
I'm glad this question came to you. I'm glad this question.
Oh, mate.
I'm sat here like, let me talk about Bastoni.
He's either going to be like David Luiz or Lucio. I don't think there's going to be any in between. Let's put it that way. But no, obviously the club have been linked obviously heavily with him. I think ever since Conte turned up, really, or Paratici even turned up, it was like, Bremer is almost like the one alongside either Skriniar or Bastoni. So he's obviously coming with good pedigree. But yeah, that's kind of all I know, really. So apologies.
I stitched you up.
But I mean, Serie Defender of the Year last year.
I got this.
The last one we got didn't work out too bad, did it, with Cootie? So if he's anything like Cootie, I'll happily take him. But I think obviously left-sided is a big priority. Obviously Bastoni, Gardeval from Leipzig. But I mean, Ben Davies, credit where it's due, has been an absolute revelation under Conte. And I mean, some of the performances he's been putting in for Wales have just been on another level. And it's like Welsh Maldini, like literally.
Davis has actually been brilliant. Towards the end of the season, I've never thought I would have said it ever. But he's, you know what, credit where it's due.
Him and Dyer this year, man. The both of them have been way past my expectations.
Oh, what's happened there? Have I lost you? Oh.
No,
I don't know what happened there. The MacBook started talking to Siri. What was it? Yeah, so just having someone like Romero in the side just shows you what it can bring out in other players. Because if they have so much trust in someone like, it just shows basically how good Romero has been for us. If he can make the likes of Davis and Dyer step up to that, well, to get us into the Champions League, it just that's what it takes sometimes. I mean, Conte. He was brilliant, obviously, when he was at Chelsea, and he spotted the players like didn't even make like Victor Moses one of the best right backs in the league that season. And it just shows you, because when I'm looking at FIFA and I'm looking at the geezer who's got like 70 pace and he's like the best right back in the league. But no, it's all man management, and it just shows like we've seen the difference. If we were sat here with Nuno, we wouldn't be where we are. We wouldn't be talking about the players. We wouldn't be talking about the signings. So you could argue it's happened quickly, but I feel like it's about time. We've waited so long for this,
Definitely.
So long to be able to actually be linked to players. Sorry, Wes, that we actually know, and so no, it's just nice. It's like a roller coaster. At the moment, it's just going up. We're just waiting. We're waiting for that marquee signing. We're waiting for that 50-60 million pound signing, because I do feel like there's one floating out there, definitely. Maybe this is why we are like beating around the bush trying to get a cheeky free signing in or a cheap right back. There's no way they would have announced that much money if we weren't going to see it being spent. So,
but this is the thing as well. I feel like that's why we maybe not have pulled a trigger on someone like Ndika or whoever else is these left centre backs, because I still don't think Bastoni's dead in the water. I know he wants to stay. But at the end of the day, Inter Milan, they have just signed a couple of players, I think. They're going to be signing more. They have agreed personal terms with Bremer, but they have to sell. They're trying to sell Skriniar instead to PSG, but are demanding a lot of money. If he doesn't go, if we put a big enough offer in, Bastoni's still potentially on the table. It's going to be extremely difficult, but I feel like that's why we're not necessarily pulling the trigger yet, like you said, because we're going to spend a lot of money, and it's probably going to be in that position or one of the centre-back positions.
I think the only downside with the Bastoni one is he is an Inter Milan fan, and I think he wants to be their captain.
Yeah, it's
a
difficult one.
It is tough, but then you weigh it up. If someone out there, or if Conte has if a deal gets accepted, and obviously does come down to whether he wants to come or not on personal terms, are you telling me he's going to be in that, wherever he is, in a boardroom somewhere with Conte, and he's going to say no to Conte? Like, it's not going to happen. Conte will be like, look, you come, I'll make you one of the best centre-backs in the league, potentially captain at Spurs in future years to come because you're young. It's like, who do you listen to?
Especially if you bring a couple more players in as well, that maybe convince him a little bit more. Like, no, we're being serious this year.
Yeah,
but I think Bremer would be great as well. To be honest with you, I think it's good because of the fact that we need a lot of players for a lot of games next season. Because he's similar to Romero in the sense he is very, very aggressive when it comes to his tackling, which is probably why they've both won the Serie A Defender of the Year, because they've put in enough tackles throughout the whole season. But yeah, he's an absolute unit. That wouldn't cost that much because I think he's only got a year left. So it's again, the fact that we're trying to build this squad, and he could be either cover for Dyer, he could potentially replace Dyer, he could even cover for Romero on the right centre back if Romero gets injured or whatnot. If we do sell Sanchez, he seems like a no-brainer alongside a big left centre back, whoever that may be. So.
And like you said, maybe we are. I mean, I didn't know much from Bremer, so thank you for throwing that in there, George. But maybe, like you say, we are throwing out these little like fishing lines, shall we say, to try and hook players in to get the big fish at the end, which could be Bissouma. Like I say, it's the most busiest I think I've ever been on Twitter searching on who we're going to get next. What's the potential? Because, like I said, we've never been in this position before where players. Not that they've never wanted to come to us before, but I feel like we're in the driving seat for once because we've got the manager, because we're in Champions League football, and it is really nice. And obviously, there's one coming out that's been spreading around. That is obviously Jesus. Now, the rumor is that obviously he is pretty much done and he is going to Arsenal, but we've kind of fizzed up with a little gesture saying, "No, just come to us instead." I'll go with my personal thoughts first, Wes, and I'll come to you. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be better suited at Arsenal just because I know we talk about game time. We have got a lot of games, but he will be their number one star man up front. And I don't think we can necessarily give that to him at Tottenham, Wes. Is that kind of your thoughts as well? I know Arsenal fans will say, he's chosen the red side of North London over top, but I don't think that's kind of the way this deal is going to go.
So this one, I really like the prospect of Jesus potentially coming to Spurs. I'm the opposite. I believe he'd be better suited to the way we play compared to the way Arsenal play. Mm-hmm. I think the fact he's capable of playing across the front line, I think, is what intrigues Conte. And I know that is probably another factor as to why we're being so heavily linked with Richarlison. I think it'd be great for us on the counter-attack, obviously, with his pace. Again, the only downside would be, the fact that he wouldn't be our main man. But then when he has had the opportunity to be the main man at City, he hasn't taken it really. He hasn't grasped it with both hands, which is why City effectively have had to go and splash 75 million on Haaland. So, Pep has often looked at, playing this false nine and having Jesus on the bench. So I think if you are Jesus, you're looking at it going, well, look, I'm a centre forward. Aguero's gone. Why am I not playing? But yeah, I think he probably would suit Arsenal to a degree because obviously they've got the likes of Odegaard who can pick a pass and Smith Rowe as well. But I just feel like he'd be better suited to us, and I think he'd be a better option for us because he can play across that whole front line. I think Arsenal kind of need, I wouldn't say like a Darwin Núñez type of centre forward or a Haaland type of centre forward, but I'll always feel like Arsenal would still need another centre forward even if they bought Jesus. Like they've just renewed Nketiah's contract, yet they're still not making him the main man, which seems really strange. Why you're going to whack Eddie Nketiah on 100 grand a week to then go and buy another striker? Business wise, it makes no sense at all. So, yeah, I think if we were to get Jesus, that would be probably one of the shrewdest bits of business in the transfer window because he has that Premier League, experience of big games, and I think he'd come up clutch for us. So, yeah, I'm excited about Jesus potentially coming. I know it's a bit of a long shot, but should we get it over the line, it's one that would excite me, definitely.
No, I mean, it is interesting what you say because I didn't think, obviously, that he could play across the front. That shows you how much other football I watch apart from Tottenham. But that, for me, I guess I didn't really think of it like that. It could be used as a versatile player in that kind of sense. I mean, Max, what are you kind of thinking? I think the price tag is about 50 mil or something. The rumours have stated that Arsenal are willing to pay. So, obviously, that compared to, obviously, the likes of Richarlison that obviously came out and Martinez that came out of the water as well. Would you prefer to spend 50 mil on Jesus or would you prefer to dabble the cash elsewhere?
Well, for one, it would be brilliant just to get him, just to stop Arsenal from signing him. I think that goes without saying. We've had it in the past with like Chelsea nicking players from us, even after us potentially like the fees and everything's been agreed. Willian being the one that obviously always comes to mind. But do you know what? He's a quality player, but he's only leaving from what we know is because he wants first team football. So he ain't getting first team football at Spurs, but then you're getting Champions League football. And like you said, Arsenal have just signed their new Thierry Henry, haven't they? Giving him number 14 over there. I don't know what they're doing with that. Why is Nketiah? Fair play to him. No disrespect to himself. he's done well. He had a good end to the season, but to be given Thierry Henry's number, I mean, I think I despise that club, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? But if he goes there, yeah, he's instantly better. He's better than Nketiah, so it'll be a bit of a wind up. I'm sure he'd be a bit disheartened by that unless they obviously play two up top. But he's a good player. I'd definitely have him at Spurs. I just feel like there is other options out there. I mean, you could go on and name. He's Premier League proven. 50 million is probably a good steal. Like if that's in this day and age, 50 million isn't as much at all, is it? So, and he still bangs in goals. I don't know how many starts he's had, but he must have come up the bench at least 20 times last season, and to still get like 15 goals is just remarkable. So it's a no-brainer, in my opinion. Get him in, but I won't waffle too much. But yeah, get him involved, because it's the same. We could all say the same, like Wes said about just like the Arsenal, and just get him in. I'd do it just to solely be a dickhead to Arsenal, to be honest.
I rate it. I mean, obviously, the whole 14 number thing, I think they ballsed it up big time with Nketiah. I don't think they really realised. I think that happened before they realised, let's get Jesus in, and then they've cocked up his wages, as well as them having to go pay out for Jesus. So, George, are you kind of on the same kind of wavelength? Would you like him in, or would you like the other rumours that have been darting around? Because apparently we are going after a striker. It just depends whether it's been the ones that have been announced in terms of Martinez or Richarlison, or obviously Jesus.
Yeah, I'm actually really caught in two minds of Jesus, to be honest with you, because I think he would work for what we want, because obviously, like we said before, it's a versatile forward, so he can either cover for Kane up top, or he could cover Kulusevski on the right, which I think he's done a lot, actually on both sides for Man City. My only problem with him is that, well, for one, it's quite telling that Man City would be is willing to let him go to Arsenal. Two, anytime I've watched Jesus personally, bar that Watford game that he got 4 goals in, there are a lot of other games where I feel like he just hasn't had that killer instinct as a striker, which means he's not going to be able to play instead of Kane. He's going to have to play with Kane every time he does play, which means he's probably playing right wing to come on for Kulusevski or Son, whatever it may be. He just doesn't have that sort of like I just said, that killer instinct for me, and I feel like it's just. I think I genuinely would rather go for the Richarlison, because he just offers that extra, like, just, I don't know, aggressiveness. It's something a bit different, and he's the same as well. He's been playing striker a lot this year because DCL's been out, but primarily he plays on left wing a lot with Everton. So I think they're both very similar. They've got very similar numbers, bearing in mind Richarlison's been in a deadbeat Everton team compared to Jesus. So I don't know, just in perspective, I think I would just prefer Richarlison to Jesus. It just, like Max said, it would be hilarious if we just took him instead of going to Arsenal. But yeah, I'm not totally sold on him, if I'm being honest.
No, that's fair. I mean, sticking on obviously Richarlison, it came out, what was it? I get confused with the days and the weeks, but a week ago or so, obviously there was rumour that we were going to link up with Richarlison for a ridiculous fee. I think it was 90 million euros or something ridiculous like that. I might have got that wrong with Martinez. But Wes, would you, with what George is saying and comparing the two, would you take Richarlison over obviously Jesus? I know you bigged up Jesus just a minute ago, but putting into what George has just said, would you change your mind? Would you be swayed?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too, fussed or disheartened if Richarlison turned up. I think he was similar to Eriksen for me in the fact that it was a bit of a no. And then I spoke to somebody in the week, last week, and they literally just kind of sold Richarlison to me. And I was there like, wow, right, okay. Obviously, I think he scored, 10 goals in that Everton side that was really struggling. You add that to Kane, Son and Kulusevski, all of a sudden you've got another player that can add, those double figure in terms of those numbers. And, we've then got a attacking force that would, be feared across probably Europe, to be fair, because it's like, right, well, if, for example, Kulusevski's having a poor game or Son's not firing on all cylinders, you've got a very, very capable replacement in Richarlison that can come in, but also one that can nick a goal as well. And I think, you look at the numbers and the stats for it. Obviously, Kulusevski come in, done an absolute madness from sort of February onwards, and I think that was those numbers between him and Bentancur arguably were the difference between us finishing in the top 4 compared to Arsenal, where they were getting rid of players and not replacing them, whereas we added. And like I say, those two that came in, propelled us probably into that Champions League spot. So, yeah, again, I think Richarlison is a smart move. Again, can play across the front line. Absolute roughhouse as well, like proper. And I think every Spurs fan would get behind it. He's almost like Lamela 2.0, like the Brazilian version. And every Spurs fan loved Coco just for the fact he used to kick people. So, yeah, I think it would be a good signing. The only thing that I'm a bit curious and a bit on the fence with is the price tag. Would I pay 50 million for Richarlison?
Yes.
Probably not. Probably not. So it'd have to be a deal involving a player, I would say. I know George mentioned, like obviously Everton have been linked with Harry Winks and stuff like that. So I think if we did a deal like that, I think I'd be all over it, to be fair. But I think both players definitely add something to our forward line. It's just a case of, you could probably toss a coin, to be fair, and go, which one would you rather have? So sorry for getting splinters in my backside and sitting on the fence. With that answer.
No, it's all good. I mean, Max, what's your kind of thoughts as well? Are you sitting on the fence like Wes? Are you getting splinters too? Or are you kind of thinking, nah, shoving Winks in that deal and I'll take Richarlison all day long?
Winks is gone already in my book. Honestly, I've been saying it for the last year or probably 2. It's only because you're the only one that puts up with him, because you've got him on like 12 of his shirts behind you there.
I know. I can't waste any more money, so I just got to keep it. I've got to keep up the reigning Winks.
But nah,
belief.
I think Richarlison, he's like the shithousery that he brings to a side is just remarkable. It's good to see. It's you need a bit of fire, and he
it's gone again.
Siri. I'm just not going to say his name or whatever it is, the computer's name. But no, I'd have Richarlison all day long, even if Winks wasn't involved in the deal. I just think he brings a lot. He brings a lot to the club. And funny enough, I actually I've got him saved as Ginge in my phone book, and he's an Evertonian fan. He lives in Cornwall, right? And when I went Everton away, I just went to this local Wetherspoons, and I bumped. This is when it was 1-0. So, because obviously, if we'd beaten them or whatnot, I wouldn't have gone anyway. But I thought they won't be that. They'll be all right, because obviously it was a draw, and he actually rings me up now and then. And it was when we were first linked with Richarlison. He rang me up. He was like, I'm deleting you out of my phone book if you obviously sign him. And I was like, you rate him that much? He was like, honestly, every Evertonian worships Richarlison, and I couldn't see it at first. But when you actually watch him and his play style, and he's a good finisher, he has a lot to offer. And I feel like maybe with the right manager, remember this is someone under Lampard, and Lampard, I don't know what he's like man management, but he's not been in the game very long. Get Conte working with someone like him, and I feel like he can literally like make him shine. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Richarlison. Really, Winks can go. He can be in that deal. He can go, but yeah. Definitely Richarlison. And you haven't even spoke about Martinez either. I know you mentioned him briefly, but this is another spanner in work. If I had to choose out of those two, it would be Martinez.
Martinez would be go round again now.
Yeah,
he'd be my one as well. But it's
100%.
Stupid money that they're asking for. So yeah,
they know his quality. That's why. They know he's big money. He could go into most Champions League sides.
Surely we can, right? They're trying to get Lukaku back. They're trying to get Dybala. They've got Dzeko already. I think they don't need. Why don't we
just wave like a little 70 million, like bang a 70 million bid, one that you know is not going to get accepted. Get everyone talking. Get it on Sky Sports. Get Alistair Gold, send him over to Syria. Get him. Put him to go on holiday. yeah. Send him on holiday. Get a pina colada. Here you go, mate. Tottenham are in for Martinez.
Yeah, it is like I'm not going to go around again, but I think Martinez is up there. But like you say, it's just the price tag, isn't it? It's just infuriating how high it is. But if the stars align, like they have been doing for us recently, who knows? He could be coming in. But that is obviously a priority for Spurs. Like I said, it's the left side of centre back, the right back, and obviously up top. So it'll be interesting to see who we get in. Before we wrap up, I kind of want to go around and ask your guys, not like obviously your dream signing, but one that you think could actually become a thing, if that makes sense. Not something we've already spoken about, someone that's just out there at the minute, and you think, actually, I wouldn't mind a cheeky bid on that guy. So, George, I'll start with you first. Or are you thinking? And I'll come back to you.
I have one because I tweeted it earlier. I don't know if it won't happen, but it's one that I wanted to throw out there. Is the fact that Man City are also trying to sell Bernardo Silva, and I think he would be the perfect sort of mix between an attacking midfielder and has played right wing a few times at the start. Well, at least at the start of the season when he had to cover for KDB not playing as well, so he's allowed to get forward more. And he scored so many goals at the start of the season playing there. So if I had to choose someone that hasn't been spoken about, I would love for us to be in for Bernardo Silva, but I don't think it would actually happen.
No, that's fair. I mean, you could add like a cheeky, like we said about a cheeky Martinez deal. We could add a few money at that and see what happens.
Yeah, just 50 mil at them. You never know.
It'd be fine,
Might accept it.
But Wes, who would your person be?
Well, I was going to literally just about to throw this particular name in the hat. Andrea Belotti on a free.
Wow.
I think it just, I'm surprised nobody is going in for him. I mean, 28, coming into his prime age, he's done it consistently in Serie A for a number of years, has international experience as well. And I just feel like it again, just kind of is a bit of a no-brainer for me. Like, he's got that leadership qualities as well, obviously being captain at Torino. And yeah, I just can't believe his name has not been mentioned at all with any club really so far. So Andrea Belotti is my shout.
Especially if it's like a free. We're like free FC at the moment. We like getting this cheeky free deal.
Well, I think it's the free agent market this year is it's so good almost. Like FM players are going to be buzzing with the free agent market because you could literally hardly spend a penny on transfer fees and just get loads of players in on frees. So I think that's why it's a really competitive free agent market this year with a lot of good players. So I think that's why I'm a bit more leaning towards the free agent market because I don't think we're ever going to get a market like this again where so many good players are up for grabs.
100%. 'Tis the season. But Max, how about you? What you kind of feeling? Who would you like to bring in?
I feel like it was already said in the chat because I was looking to see if it came up, and it's not someone who might set the world on fire, but it's a position that could create us a lot of goals and like opportunities, and that is Kostic. Mm-hmm. I feel like just brilliant. I was watching him in obviously Europa, and he's got a bit of everything. He's like he's good at attacking. He gets back. He's just an exciting player, and I feel like compared to like 10 years ago, right? You have so many of these players now, like that are just exciting. They want to, like, if you're a defender, they want to do more. They want to get forward. They want to score goals. And I feel like that's how you join the likes of Man City and Liverpool. You have to get those fullbacks these days that know how to do that and know how to play that sort of football. Because at the end of the day, you got to look at players like Trent and Robertson. Like, they're getting 20, 30 goals between them a season. It's like, it's unheard of. Instead of just sticking that on someone, your striker's back, then the classic saying's always been build from the back. And I'd love to see it. I mean, I watched him play against Barcelona when I was actually out in Barcelona. Annoyingly didn't get to go to the game because the Frankfurt fans had sold out. They were buying all of the tickets around. It would have been like €200 for one ticket, and I was like, absolutely not. So I ended up watching a little Irish bar, but no, he was brilliant. And I feel like we've already spoke about Hakimi. We've already spoke about vaguely Martinez. Either of those two come in, like it changes the team completely. But we just hadn't spoke about Kostic, so it's another player that would be exciting to see, definitely.
Oh, nice. I like it. Like I say, my knowledge on players that are not wearing a Tottenham shirt are pretty thin. So I won't give you my thoughts, but I'll just say I want Winks gone. And then when he goes, I will burn the goal. So that's my kind of contribution to that kind of thing. But I want to say a big thank you quickly to everybody in the chat. It's a bit of a madness that 52 people are watching. So thank you. I think that is an all-time record. So
love that. Well done.
Yeah, it's a madness. It's because I got you lot on the panel. That's probably why. But
No.
But no, thank you. But before we say goodbye to everyone, I just want to go round the table and obviously say thank you for coming on and where we can find you all. So, Max, where can everybody find you doing your thing, my friend?
Hopefully, God, I can't even spit my words out tonight. Either on the sofa with my old man watching an away game on the telly, but hopefully that won't be the case this year. It'll be actually more reactions and match day vlogs this season. So yeah, DuoMax on YouTube and Instagram mainly.
Love it, mate. Thank you. I just thought I'd fizz this up from Darren. Yes. And George, thank you again for coming on. Where can everybody find you?
No, thank you. Happy to be here. And it's just at George Achilea. Where is it? That thing there. Across everything, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, even the occasional TikTok here and there. You never know. Might do one with Delhi soon. Yeah, just following through match days throughout next season, and hopefully some other videos too. We'll see.
I like it. Nice. Thank you again. And Wes, thank you again for coming on. It's so nice. I'm so sorry it's been such a while. But thank you for coming on. Where can everybody find you doing your thing, my friend?
Yeah, so on Instagram at Wezo32, you'll probably see me at matches. Tend to follow Spurs up and down the country and go as often as I can. On Twitter at Wezo10, literally Moussa Dembele fan account. Absolute greatest of all time. My favourite player ever to wear a Spurs shirt. I think someone even put a question out of if there's one player to get back in your that was in their prime that you would bring back, and I went Moussa Dembele. So that kind of just says it all. Also run my own coaching business in Milton Keynes, helping young footballers. So at WM32 at WM32 football, across all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok as well. So yeah, be good to obviously get some more stuff out. Got some holiday camps coming up in the summer as well. So yeah, really looking forward to those.
I like it. Nice. I wish I was younger now and I had all these football camps. Jesus. But no, thank you guys again for joining me tonight. Hopefully in the next coming weeks, we'll have some more transfers to talk about and them lifting up a shirt, and it's the real deal. But like I say, Hollie's Hotspurs Live is normally every Monday. I think I'm going to make this a weekly thing now until the season resumes again with the transfer kind of thing, because like I said, I'm not the best at transfers. I don't know a lot. I have to do my homework, so it's always nice to have people on that know what they're talking about. So that's a big up to my guests. But yeah, like I say, make sure you subscribe, like all of that fancy stuff, so you never miss a video. And until next time, come on, you Spurs.